go, payday go. What's up guys, Lord Helen here, back again with another video, and this is the Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. This is Samsung's latest flagship phone that was announced just 4 days ago, and I've spent quite a considerable amount of time with it. I was privileged to get an early hands-on, but held off on the first impressions video because during announcements there's always a lot of hype and mixed reactions about the phone, so I do my best to wait a couple of days before giving my opinion on the product. In this video, I'm going to touch on the noteworthy aspects of the Note 20 Ultra and keep using it for a more conclusive review video to follow after this. Alongside that, I have a couple more videos coming on the Note 20 Ultra and the Note 20, so subscribe and turn on the notifications so you don't miss those. Also, let me know what phones you want to see go against the Note 20 series in the comments below, and I'll do my best to make those videos. The Note 20 Ultra this year brings a Snapdragon 865 Plus chipset, 12GB of RAM, 128, 256, 512GB of storage options, a 45,000 mAh battery powering up the phone, a triple camera setup, and a massive 6.9-inch 1440 120Hz curved display. Easiest spot to start is the design of the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. It comes in 3 different colors: Mystic Bronze, Mystic White, and Mystic Black, which I have here. Hashtag Black Lives Matter. The Ultra starts off at $12.99 for the base 128GB of storage and 12GB of RAM, and can be spec'd up to 512GB of storage for $1,500, at which point it only comes in Mystic Black. Also, note that at all stages you can expand with external storage, which is nice. Picking up the phone for the first time, not gonna lie, it feels different. Premium to the touch, taken up a notch. This can be partially attributed to the Note 20 Ultra's new Gorilla Glass 7, also called Victus, both front and back, which is made to resist even more scratches and be more durable. Also, I've not had a chance to play around with other colors, but if you pick up the Mystic Black color that I have here, you're gonna have to deal with the fingerprint smudges on this phone. Next, let's talk about the body of the phone. First up, you've got this boxy squared off edges design we're used to on the Note lineup, and this phone right out the gate is huge. I've got big hands and have no problem with big phones, but this one is quite a reach. We're looking at a 6.9-inch dynamic AMOLED panel, and a little more on that coming later. The power and the volume buttons have moved back to the right side of the phone from last year's Note 10 series, where they were on the right. That's nice. At the bottom, you get the speaker, the USB Type-C port, a mic, and an S Pen. Nothing on the left side, SIM slot up top, and the huge camera bump at the back of the phone. The new upgrades on the Note design this year are: number 1, the Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra is knocking the new Gorilla Glass 7 front and back. 2, the S Pen has moved from the right side of the phone to the left. And 3, the camera hump is enormous. You can't ignore it, but it sort of grows on you. Some would argue even more aggressive than that on the S20 Ultra. Onto the display. Again, just to echo what I said earlier on, it's a 6.9-inch dynamic AMOLED display coming in at 1440p resolution, 120Hz refresh rate, and a 496 ppi density. Of course, it looks great, fantastic even. Samsung makes arguably the best smartphone screens out there. Colors are fantastic, punchy and crisp, visibility outdoors is also brilliant, and overall just pleasing to the eye. Straight out of the box, the phone ships a 1080p resolution at adaptive 120Hz refresh rate. Now brace for a rant. 1080p adaptive 120Hz is a good combination for battery life. That's a given. It being adaptive means that the phone decides when to step up to 120Hz and when to dial down the refresh rate to 60Hz depending on what you're doing. That's okay, fine even. What I don't get is why Samsung won't allow you to lock the refresh rate at 120Hz all through. Yes, it's gonna take a hit on battery, but the Note 20 Ultra is capable of fast charging, so topping back up shouldn't be a problem. To give context to this, the Samsung S20 Ultra allows you to lock the refresh rate at 120Hz 1080p all through, and this sort of gave me the notion that Samsung will keep that trend with the Note 20 Ultra. Making matters worse, we pay a premium north of $1,200 for your choice to be curtailed to 120Hz at Full HD+, where other phones cheaper than this allow you to rock the phone at 120Hz 1440p resolution. That's like paying for an off-roading vehicle and being told you can't drive it in the mud, ruts, or rugged terrain. Beats the point of paying that much for it then, no? Moving on to the cameras on the Note 20 Ultra, you get a triple camera setup, just like last year's Note 10 Plus, but improved. A main 108 megapixel f1.8 wide-angle lens with laser autofocus and OIS, a 12 megapixel f3.0 periscope telephoto shooter with built-in optical image stabilization and up to 50x hybrid zoom, and a 12 megapixel f2.2 ultra-wide lens. The new addition here is the laser autofocus, which I must say has greatly improved focus speeds and done away with the focus issues we saw in the S20 Ultra. Here are some preliminary sample shots from the phone, but kindly note that a full in-depth camera review is coming, so make sure you subscribe and your notifications are on. I'm also happy with Samsung's move to do away with the 100x zoom we saw in the S20 Ultra and dial it down to a much sensible, usable 50x. Now, looking at the images, the camera does put out great dynamic range, clarity, and colors, and it's just a great experience using the focal lengths offered by the camera. Image quality from 0.5x to 30x is good, pretty usable, and past that, pushing to 50x is kind of okay. Realistically speaking, I don't know of majority Note users who will intentionally zoom in 50 times to a shot. If you plan on doing that once you get the phone, please let me know why in the comments and tag me in some of the shots you take. There is also a couple of new noteworthy camera modes and features including 8K in 21:9 aspect ratio, HDR10+ video recording, and the ability to muffle audio coming from a particular direction using the Pro video mode. So far, the only issue I have with the camera is how laggy its UI is when switching between focal lengths. I did experience this with S20 Ultra, which later got ironed out in a feature software update, so I'll wait for the update for the Note 20 Ultra too. All in all, I like this result. Again, as this is still pre-release camera software, we're going to hold on to our horses until later before diving deeper and dissecting this camera. Now, let's talk about what makes the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra a Note. Firstly, it's been moved over to the right. Majority of Note users, myself included, will have to adjust to that because muscle memory has you looking for the S Pen on the right. Other than that, the S Pen sees one huge upgrade this year, and that's in terms of latency. To get you up to speed on what latency is, it's the delay between when you touch the screen with the pen and a register for what you just touched on the screen happens. Close to home, think of it as the delay of a pen touching the paper and when ink starts to show on the paper, in layman terms. Previously, the latency of the S Pen was at 42 milliseconds, and Samsung have managed to dial it down to 9 milliseconds. It might not be perceptible on camera, but you can definitely feel the difference when using it. There's quite literally a zero perceptible gap in responsiveness between the pen and what I'm actually jotting down. It feels like writing on paper directly on the display, which is just fantastic. Not only when scribbling or drawing, but even navigating the UI with the pen. A massive improvement. You also find additional pen intricacies like gestures, camera controls, and mapping various functions to the S Pen. Now, actually using the phone and just navigating through its UI, menus, and settings, the phone feels very, very familiar. And kudos for Samsung for this, for making the transition from one Samsung phone to another pretty easy and basically non-existent. The Note 20 Ultra rocks Android 10 with One UI 2.5 straight out of the box, and Samsung is now promising 3 years of software updates on this phone. Performance is not quite an issue as you'd expect from a $1,200 phone, but you definitely feel that Exynos chip capping performance at some point while running some heavy, intense games. You feel it especially with how the phone starts to thermal throttle. Again, the software is in final and things might change in the version you buy. So that was my first 72 hours on the new Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra. Thanks for Samsung for providing this review unit for me to make videos on. And quick disclaimer, Samsung isn't paying me to alter any of my thoughts on the device, and they won't get an early look at this video, so you're watching it with them the moment this goes live. These are my own initial thoughts about the phone, and I'm going to spend more time with it and post a full review after the phone is actually released. You'll be able to go out and buy this phone off the shelf starting August 19th. That said, hit the like button, subscribe and turn on notifications if you haven't yet. Talk amongst yourselves in the comment section below. I'll be watching, and let me see you in the next one.